In politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. What was Stanley Livondo's real mission in Kiambu or in Thika during Moses Kuria's homecoming? What was his real mission? In this video, I want us to do a critical analysis of Stanley Livondo's speech during Moses Kuria's homecoming. Because that homecoming was being watched very closely across the country. And if you missed the speech by Livondo, I want to play it very briefly, and I want you to pay very close attention to 2 or 3 things. The first thing is how he was invited by Kabando wa Kabando to speak. In fact, Kabando wa Kabando was very clear that he was under instruction by Moses Kuria to invite Stanley Livondo. And also want you to pay very close attention to what Stanley Livondo is trying to say and the reaction of the audience. So listen in to Stanley Livondo very briefly before we proceed.
Alafu tukamilisha hapo. So please, ngojeni kidogo. I don't want to be indisciplined. There is something happening in technology. I'll call you, all of you, later. Why couldn't go with that? Bwana Livondo come. Bwana Livondo first. Wao wengine waketi. Sasa I have to be in control because mimi naagizwa na Kuria. So I have to do the work.
Mgeni wa heshima leo ndugu yangu Kuria, His Excellency wa Kiambu, Mheshimiwa Nyoro, kanisa na wananchi, mjambo. Mimi kwanza nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kuleta ndugu yetu siku ya leo. Huyu ndugu yetu ni ndugu ambaye ni shujaa sana. Ndugu ambaye yeye is a strategist. Yule ambaye kwa viongozi hapa Central ni viongozi ambao wako na msimamo nao uona mbele. Ndio siku ya leo nikasema mpaka nikwe hapa. Nataka kuambia watu wa Central, naenda straight kwa point. Watu wa Central, mimi nimekuwa na nyinyi rafiki yenu kwa muda mwingi sana. Tangu wakati wa rafiki yangu Mheshimiwa Mwai Kibaki. Na nikiwa naye nilijua watu wa Central wako na msimamo, ni watu ambao hawawezi kupelekwa hivi. Nashangaa sana Mheshimiwa Kuria, when you are away, kuna maneno ambayo ilifanyika huku nitoboe. Kuna maneno ambayo imefanyika mpaka mwenyewe Livondo nashindwa ni nini? Central inaenda wapi? Kitu cha kwanza, Wakenya mjui, lakini leo pastor alisema vile David alirudi, alipata kama wana wa Israeli wanaumia, na akasema tukomboe nchi. Kuna visa mbili vimefanyika Kenya hii, na nyinyi watu wa Central mnaangalia. Wakenya wananungunika tu, wanasema saa yote, wanasema saseme kwa nini walikosana na mwenyewe na mwingine. Kama wewe uko na ndugu yako, uko na rafiki yako, na yeye anataka kuweka chini akuangushe na ndege mara 2, utamsamea? Nitoboe? Utamsamea? Rais alikuwa anatoka Kisumu ya kwanza. Rais alikuwa anaenda America through Dubai, ndege karudishwa Kenya. Alikuwa anataka kuangushwa chini. Na sisi tunacheka tu. Watu wa Central, nataka kumwambia siku ya leo, nikimalizia, nyinyi ni marafiki zangu, lakini nyinyi ni wengi. Musipokuwa pamoja, mutapigwa mshale ambayo mutapona after 50 years.
Livondo tocha sasa.
Mmesikia?
Livondo, tosha.
Mumesikia?
Tosha.
Musikia hivyo ni nani?
No, that's Stanley Livondo. And just like I keep on saying in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Stanley Livondo attended that homecoming to deliver the message he was sent to deliver. And who sent him to deliver the message? The truth of the matter is that in 2015, way before the handshake, President Uhuru Kenyatta trip to Dubai aborted mid-air. And the president came back into the country. Up to now, no explanation has ever been given why that plane was diverted back to the country. Again, after the handshake, there was a time President Uhuru Kenyatta was in Kisumu, and we saw Raila Odinga going to the president and stopping the president from boarding the plane. Again, after stopping the president from boarding the plane, they went to Dunga, and the president flew later. So the truth of the matter is that there's been a lot of talks and speculations on what transpired during that period. And the truth of the matter is that the president has told Kenyans that he's going to start spilling beans about what really caused the problem between himself and the deputy president. And within the corridors of powers, there has been this talk that there were plans, really, to eliminate the president. Most of those claims are actually unsubstantiated. But Stanley Livondo's speech during Moses Kuria's homecoming is very clear and is clearly accusing the Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, which begs these 5 or 6 questions. The first question: who invited Stanley Livondo to Moses Kuria's homecoming? Who invited him? Maybe Stanley Livondo is Moses Kuria's friend. And how many Moses Kuria's friends were at that event? And why was he invited in that place? And if he was not invited, who gave him the chance to speak? That's the second question. Why was Stanley Livondo given the chance to speak? And when he was speaking, nobody bothered to even interrupt him. He was allowed to speak. He was allowed to say whatever he wanted to say, because Stanley Livondo spoke like for 4 minutes. When he started talking about this particular issue, it was around 1 minute. Why was he allowed to say whatever he was saying? So that's the second question. The third question is, how did the audience react while Stanley Livondo was delivering this message? What was the mood? If you listen to that clip, when Stanley Livondo was making the statement, the audience were actually cheering him up. What does that tell you about William Ruto and Moses Kuria's relationship? In my view, after that particular event, Moses Kuria will not see eye to eye with the deputy president. Just for the one main reason why he allowed Stanley Livondo to utter such words. Let me tell you what normally happens in politics. Whenever politicians attend this kind of events, they can always gauge the mood. Apart from gauging the mood, in most cases, the speakers are always briefed on the red lines. Like in this case, there was that suspense. The deputy president coming or not. Moses Kuria joining Azimio, or is he joining Kenya Kwanza? So there was that suspense. So there was no way Stanley Livondo would just wake up from nowhere and hit the deputy president like that if he didn't have a message which he had to, by the way, deliver. Which brings us to the main issue. What was Stanley Livondo's mission in Moses Kuria's homecoming? 3 only. Number 1, I think he was sent there to gauge the reaction of the mountain. If, for example, there's a bitter fallout between the president and the deputy president, and let's say it's not, I'm not saying that's what happened, and let's say, or let's assume that was the intention of the plane coming back. It happened in 2015. Again, there was that other one, I think 2019. So Stanley Livondo has been sent to gauge the reaction. After speaking, then tomorrow we should expect Tanga Tanga to call for a press conference where they will hit on Stanley Livondo. That's one thing we should expect. How is the ground reacting? Now the ground, if you leave alone the Tanga Tanga leaders, the ground, how are they reacting? The Rift Valley, how is Rift Valley reacting to that statement by Stanley Livondo? How is Central reacting to that statement by Livondo? So whoever sent Stanley Livondo to Moses Kuria's homecoming with that message wanted to gauge the reaction of Moses Kuria supporters, the reaction of William Ruto supporters, William Ruto's allies, and the ground in general. That's number one. Number two, I also tend to think that there is plan to drag William Samoei Arap Ruto into some mud. The truth of the matter is that after Stanley Livondo made those comments, tomorrow some allies of the DP might be tempted to call for a press conference. Once they call for the press conference, they'll hit on Livondo. Someone will go to court. And that's how the deputy president will then be dragged into court. And the moment he will be dragged into court, it means one thing, that he will be expected to justify why he's clean, and some people will again go ahead and defend Livondo. So I also tend to think that someone is keen on dragging William Ruto along the corridors of justice. Number three, probably the whole thing is intended to provoke the DP. You know, William Ruto is a very angry man. Every time he's provoked, he responds. So probably that's the intention why they chose a lawyer. So the lawyers in Kakamega, Busia, and Vihiga will come to the defense of their man. But the deputy president will be provoked, he will be angry, he will be bitter, and will respond now to Uhuru Kenyatta. And probably Uhuru Kenyatta will now respond further. You see, what Stanley Livondo stated, if they came from President Uhuru Kenyatta, they would have meant a different thing. But I think someone is out to actually provoke the DP. Number four, in my view, I think someone is also keen on starting a discussion among Kenyans. How, for example, the deputy president wanted to take power through the back door, why he should not be allowed to take the presidency. How, for example, he wanted to take power through any other means possible. And lastly, is to portray Ruto as power hungry. A person who can do anything and everything just for power. That's what I'm getting. I don't know what you think. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. And tomorrow, I'll do a complete analysis on Moses Kuria's homecoming. Whether it's going to shape the politics or not. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. Bye-bye.